Hello everyone, on today's episode of the 1 Year Life Transformation Challenge, we're going to talk about 10 ways successful people stay calm in difficult situations. Hello everyone, as mentioned in the intro, I want to talk about staying calm, particularly in stressful situations. I want to go through 10 ways to do that. Being calm and coming from a true place of knowing who you are sorts out many of life's problems. Much of the pain that comes into your life is very temporary and can be handled very easily, but it's when you handle it poorly and don't apply the right principles, it can turn to suffering and continually manifesting that painful situation. So as always, I'm going to begin with a quote, and that quote is, "How can you sit there calmly eating muffins when you are in this horrible trouble? I can't make out. You seem to be perfectly heartless." Well, I can't eat muffins in an agitated manner. The butter would probably get on my cuffs. One would always eat muffins quite calmly. It's the only way to eat them. I say it's perfectly heartless you're eating muffins at all under the circumstances. Oscar Wilde, The Importance of Being Earnest. Oscar Wilde wrote so many incredible stories about the human condition, and this short passage from that book illustrates such an incredible concept that sometimes we believe the correct reaction is to suffer and to stress. Therefore, we live out and we pretend we act these emotions until we feel them. Whereas the character Ernest is saying in this situation, well, I'm going to eat these muffins. The best way to eat these muffins is just to be here and eat them, not to stress and eat the muffins, because that wouldn't be appropriate. It's a simple way of looking at it. My personal story is that I started to understand the further and further I got in my life that every decision I made in reflection that was a poor quality decision, I came from a place of scarcity. Whether it was traveling because I thought I'd lose my job, whether it was starting a relationship because I felt lonely, whenever I came from a place of scarcity, those decisions ended up manifesting to be what obviously became the wrong decision. So becoming calm and being peaceful when difficult decisions arise is absolutely key to the quality of your life, because the quality of your decisions determine the quality of your life. And now that I make decisions from abundance, that is, that someone could offer me $10 million a day right now to be on Fox News and to talk about war and murder and death and destruction, I just wouldn't do it. There was a me that would have, but I wouldn't do it now because I'm not coming from a place where that $10 million would be worth me doing something that I don't want to do. So stress is really the activator that creates these bad decisions. And I want to talk to you about stress because the old saying is that, pressure creates diamonds. Well, that's not exactly true. There's a level of stress applied in nature which helps evolution and helps us create more robust individuals. But there is a level of stress which is absolutely dysfunctional. And we operate at the dysfunctional level. We apply the same mechanisms in our reptilian brain to being late, sending an email, a couple of days late, to being chased by a woolly mammoth who has its tusks ready to impale us. And obviously, getting impaled by a woolly mammoth would have happened to us in prehistory maybe once a year or a month, so that was legitimate to be freaked out. But to be freaked out every single day and have stress applied to you every single day, we're not designed to cope with that. Our organs fight back, and disease is really the eventuality. So as you can see on this graph here, when you have no stress, you're generally bored and you're depressed because you don't have a purpose, you don't have anything pushing you forward. And then as more stress comes into your life, and when I say stress, I'm talking about activities, because it's obviously the way you look at these things, you get to a point where you become more alert, and ultimately you come to this sort of flow state where there's enough pressure to keep you alert and on the prize on the current moment, but there's not too much to make you feel sick. But very quickly, this optimal performance can turn to strong anxiety and complete meltdown. And we avoid this second part of the graph. Like, managers just ignore that it exists. They think if you keep pushing people, you end up getting a result, when the reality is it's not true. I remember having a manager that used to, when they told me what my targets were, they'd triple. And I would stress out to hit these unbelievably difficult targets, and quite often I wouldn't hit them because they were tripled from what they should be, and I'd feel down and stressed and freaked out, only to find out later that her understanding was that she just tripled the budgets, and even if I made half of that, the company would still be in a good position, not understanding the mechanisms of stress and how they affect performance. So how do we stay calm, and how do successful people continually distribute calm, abundance-based mindsets when faced with difficult situations? Well, the first one, they appreciate what they have. Trade your expectations for appreciations and you'll be happy immediately. Knowing what you have is enough means that you don't have to take less than. Knowing that you have everything you need within you means that you don't have to keep stretching and doing things you don't like for things that you don't have, that you don't need. You too, that song Beautiful Day, it just says what you don't have, you don't need it now, don't need it now. That line is just incredible. And what you don't know, you can feel it somehow. I should play the track over this if it wasn't for copyright. Listen to Beautiful Day at the end of this video, especially if on YouTube, just type it in. But those two quotes, what you don't need, what you don't have, you don't need it now. And that second part of the song where he says, if you don't know, you can feel it somehow. That's universal intelligence. And you already have everything you need. Number 2, they stop asking what if. What if is the most redundant statement known to man. What if? I don't know. What if? Well, what if is a mechanism for you to get lost in thought. Don't ask what is. Just be aware of what's in front of you. Number 3, stay positive. I talk about positive thinking not being very helpful, but obviously there is a situation where with perspective you can see the things that are really, really negative aren't really negative. They're just unfolding of the way of life. Number 4, disconnect. Don't do emails at home, and don't bring work with you. In France right now, they're revolutionising the world with a 35-hour work week, and the criminal bankers and the large corporations who are raping the planet at the moment are pushing back on the French politicians to change that to a 40-hour work week. But hopefully the French people, vive la resistance, stick to it, because we need to disconnect from work. Disconnection. We are not human beings designed to work 80-hour weeks. We're human beings designed to be conscious and aware of this incredible life that we have. 5, they limit their caffeine intake. Gee, I remember trying to explain to someone the dangers of caffeine. They just looked at me blankly, and it's not until we use words like heroin or cocaine that people's eyes prick up, because it's nice to know that they're the bad drugs that you don't do, but all the drugs you do are good drugs because you do them. Caffeine really stimulates stress response systems, and if you're in a stressful job or stressful situation, it doubles, triples that. We all know, I know personally, when I used to deal with challenging customers, if I had a coffee beforehand, a normal conversation would escalate, my hand would shake, and it would go out in a spiral. Number 6, they sleep. Sleep, I don't know where to start, but sleep is absolutely fundamental. 7 to 8 hours sleep, no questions asked. You don't do it, you put on weight, your immune system drops, you feel like crap, and your life sucks. So why wouldn't you start sleeping more? Number 7, they squash negative talk. Not only do they squash negative talk, they try and squash the talk at all. That voice going off in your head, it's not your voice, it's just natter. It's just like turning on the radio. If you had the radio on the background, you don't need to freak out every time they say to do things. You just know that it's happening in the background. Number 8, they reframe and use perspective. They know that the situation they're about to enter into, no matter how difficult or challenging, they've beaten a similar situation in the past. It could be on a sporting field, it could be in work, it could be in a relationship. They know with perspective that they can handle anything thrown at them. Number 9, they breathe. Your parasympathetic system, which is induced by deep breathing, is what limits your stress, which brings you into a normal state. When you're breathing, you can't freak out. Number 10, they use their support system. The humans around them they look to for inspiration. They spend quality time with their friends at the beach. They go for a swim and they use that system to recharge. They don't use things. Drake, in his song Connect, said that you need to learn how to use things and love people, not the other way around, because quite often we love things and use people. Use your support system, allow them to calm you and to bring you to what's really important, which is your family and friends and experiences, the beautiful experiences of life, not a budget, not a email deadline. None of those things are going to worry you on your deathbed. That's something to think about. I can't wait to see you till tomorrow, but until then, goodbye.